City to replace Aguero. Ancelotti heads back to Madrid. Arsenal close to stunning keeper deal. Confusion over Pochettino movements and a transfer roundup all coming up in the next few minutes. As I'm your host, Matt Froelich. You are the OneFootballers and this is the Daily News. First off, and Manchester City chairman Khaldoon Al-Mubarak has said that Sergio Aguero will be replaced at the right time and with the right player. He was speaking yesterday after seeing his Manchester City side lose in the Champions League final. Said that they will not sit back and they will continue to develop their squad. He said that they lose a very important legend in Sergio Aguero with very big shoes to fill. But who's going to fill those shoes? That is the main question on everybody's lips. Now, of course, there are so many big names being thrown about this summer. One of them is Erling Haaland, but the other is Harry Kane. He's reportedly told Tottenham that he wants to leave the club, and there have been loads of rumours that Manchester City are the ones to snap him up. Probably because they can offer loads of Champions League football and they've got the money to do so. Despite this, though, there have been a few rumours that they may not have all of the money to pay for Kane outright, with apparently the club wanting around £150 million for the England captain. So they're willing to throw a few players in there, and two of those names are Gabriel Jesus and Raheem Sterling, and I cannot see this happening. The Kane to Manchester City thing, maybe that'll happen. As for Sterling and Jesus going in the other direction, that's definitely a no-go. I'm not entirely sure that those two will be willing to swap the Champions League, even if they are on the bench sometimes for Manchester City, to play in the UEFA Conference League. No disrespect to that competition, of course. As for Manchester City up front, well, we've seen that they lacked a bit of attacking edge in the Champions League final, and they didn't start without a recognised striker. It's all well and good when these decisions to play the likes of Foden, Sterling, Mahrez, Bernardo Silva, even Gundogan, whoever else through the middle come off. But when they don't, it's clear that Manchester City definitely need an attacking focal point, and they're going to need a striker to play for the upcoming years if they're to build some sort of destiny in the Premier League. If it's not Harry Kane, then it may be Haaland. That may be next summer, though. Moving on then, and to Carlo Ancelotti, who has just up sticks and left Everton. Rather disappointing for the club. He has headed back to Real Madrid. Now, obviously, Zinedine Zidane left the club last week, and it hasn't taken long for those of the bird about to act and bring in their number one target. When Zidane left, we were talking about Max Allegri, potentially Antonio Conte, but now it's Carlo Ancelotti, the man that managed them for 2 years between 2013 to 2015, bringing him the Champions League title in 2014, is back at the helm, and he said it was just an opportunity that was too good to turn down. Whilst I understand that, it doesn't exactly look very good for Everton. I mean, they bought him in, and it was definitely a Hollywood signing to bring in a manager of his calibre. They spent a fair bit of money, and then they finished 10th. It's not exactly ideal, and honestly, given everything that I've just mentioned, I think Everton have underachieved in the last few seasons. On top of all of this, to then lose their main attraction and some of the main reasons that many players would want to go to Everton because they get to work under Ancelotti doesn't exactly bode well for the future. There are, of course, a few names in the frame to take over at Goodison Park. One of them is Nuno Espirito Santo, the former Wolves manager, who apparently is in quite interested talks with Crystal Palace. On top of this, there's Eddie Howe, who will not be moving to Celtic, and one of the wild cards throughout all of this is Steven Gerrard. Now, it makes sense. Gerrard's gone to Rangers, proven himself to be a good coach, and could move back to the Premier League. It doesn't make sense because, of course, he is an absolute Liverpool legend. This would be like Gary Neville coming back to management to manage Man City, or Thierry Henry taking the job at Spurs. Not quite sure it's going to happen. I'm sure Gerrard would love the chance to manage in the Premier League, but definitely not at his former greatest rivals, Everton. They may have to look elsewhere for their new manager. And who knows, maybe they could steal Antonio Conte reportedly from under the noses of Spurs. But getting onto their managerial talk, and we'll get to it in just a few minutes. But first off, we move to Spurs' greatest rivals, Arsenal, as they look to be picking up one hell of a deal. In fact, it's so good, I can't believe that not many other clubs are interested. Ajax keeper Andre Onana is halfway through serving a ban for testing positive for a banned substance. And with his contract running out in the summer of 2022, it looks like Arsenal could sign him on a ridiculously cheap deal. The former Barcelona Academy goalkeeper currently, like I mentioned, has 1 year left. So if Arsenal manage to sign him this summer, because they're going through an appeal to try and get his ban overturned, it's going to cost them around €7.5 million. If the ban isn't overturned and it runs until February in 2022, obviously with just a few months left, they'll apparently be able to sign him for as little as €1.7 million. This is the guy that was linked with a return to Barcelona and many other clubs a couple of seasons ago when Ajax made it all the way to the semi-final of the Champions League for around 20 to 25 million euros. So to sign a top quality goalkeeper for under 2 million is absolutely insane. At the moment, Arsenal are reeling from, let's be honest, letting Emi Martinez go and him showing himself to be a top goalkeeper. Bernd Leno's had a good season, but there's still reports that his future may not lie at the Emirates. And well, Matt Ryan's coming from Brighton and hasn't really had a chance to show what he can do. So Onana would actually, in my opinion, be a fantastic signing for Mikel Arteta's side, and certainly would go some way to shoring up that rather leaky defence. Right then, moving on to the next piece of news. We spoke about it a little bit earlier, and Tottenham's new potential manager. And there are conflicting reports about whether or not Mauricio Pochettino actually wants to join. So yesterday there was loads of news saying that Pochettino's asked PSG to leave. He definitely wants to go back to North London. But now there are further reports this morning coming out of the Telegraph in England saying that he hasn't asked to leave. He's completely happy there and that PSG have extended his contract. Well, exercised their option to extend it for another year, meaning that he now has a contract until 2023. Now you can look at this in one of two ways. Either they extended his contract because they want him to stay and they want to prove to Pochettino that they want him to stay and give him some backing. Or they're extending it because if Daniel Levy does come knocking to PSG to try and bring Pochettino back to Tottenham, well, PSG will be able to charge a little bit more money because technically he'll have a longer contract, so it'll be more expensive to buy him out of it. Of course, all of these things come down to money at the end of the day. As for Antonio Conte, we mentioned a little bit earlier as well, he has been linked with the Spurs job, but it looks like he's not too happy to play backup and wait around for Pochettino to make a decision before he gets a final offer. Finally then, a quick roundup of the rest of the day's news and transfer news that you might have missed. And Barcelona have joined Manchester United in the race for Sevilla defender Jules Koundé. Florian Neuhaus has rejected rumours that he has signed a pre-contract agreement with Bayern Munich. Ousmane Dembele has been handed a new 5-year deal at Barcelona, which he is just about to sign. And lastly but not least, a few of you on my socials were asking me what I thought about Gareth Southgate's England squad and the fact he's taking 4 right backs. And honestly, I couldn't really care less. They're all very good right backs. It's a very tough decision to make. They've all got secondary positions, whether it's left back, whether it's midfield, whether it's centre back. And obviously, all 4 of them aren't going to be on the pitch at once. I'd rather talk about plenty of the positives, especially in the attacking areas for England and their chances at Euro 2020 this summer. 2021. It's still called Euro 2020, by the way. Oh, and the other contentious decision about keeping Jesse Lingard in and around the squad, despite the fact he's not going to the Euros and starting the game against Austria. Well, it's very, very simple. Gareth Southgate said Jadon Sancho was ill. I think Foden and Mount have been given a little bit more time off after playing in the Champions League Saturday night. And with Henderson, Grealish and potentially Declan Rice not back to full fitness yet, it makes sense to keep Lingard around to give him a game and also to make sure that England actually have enough midfielders on the pitch against Austria. So there you have it then. That is all from me for today's daily news. You guys let me know your thoughts down below. Check out everything else we've got going on. And until next time, I will see you guys later.